What's going on, guys? I'm super excited, super stoked today to have a very good friend of mine, Mike Racinos. We've been talking about doing this podcast for probably a few months now.
Couple
Yeah,
months.
probably even we're hitting like a year. We did something very similar about like 8 months ago, but it was just a very short conversation. So I was just super excited to have him here today. We talk about business all the time, personal growth, 100% hustle mentality. So such a pleasure to have you, brother.
Dude, thanks for having me, man. And man, you're looking good, man. I gotta start hitting the gym more with
Keep
you,
telling
man.
you, bro. Keep telling you.
Dude, you're looking real good, man. But yeah, no, thanks for having me, man. Life is good, work is good, business is good. Believe it or not, we're actually over here at my listing, over here in West Hollywood. But yeah, brother, life is good. Thanks for
Interesting. We
having
were
me.
talking about where to shoot the actual podcast, and we were thinking about one of the office locations. And then he's like, "Hey, suggested he just picked up this amazing home right off the Sunset Strip." And he showed me some pictures. I'm like, "Dude, that is perfect setup for us to do the podcast." So it's pretty cool. What did your seller say when you told him you're gonna come set up here?
Well, he was like, "Don't shoot anything inappropriate." You know what I mean?
We'll keep that content for the other channel.
I was like, no X-rated things, man. We're gonna keep it very simple. But no, he's a great guy, man. Actually, believe it or not, I got him off like a cold call.
Oh, really? Nice.
I've known him for about like a solid year now. He's from London, and yeah.
So you just mentioned out of a cold call. So for our audience, people that don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who's Mike Racinos?
Well, Mike Racinos, man, that's a great question, man. Well, I'm basically 29 years old. I was born and raised over here in California. For those of you that don't know, people are like, "Are you Persian or you're Armenian?" I'm actually Hispanic, de Nicaragua.
Latino.
Nicas. What's up, baby?
This is not beer. This is
But yeah, no, 29 years old, man, born and raised in the Valley. I got into real estate like 2 years ago. It's July 14th is going to be my real estate anniversary, so I'm looking forward to that.
nice. How many years?
2 years.
2 years in the business.
2 years in the biz.
And cranking it, bro. Just since you started, man, that's one of the things that I admired about you. Hear a lot of people wanting to get into the game. Obviously, for those that know me, I do mortgage, so we go through a lot of these conversations, but it's not easy, especially in today's market. I mean, things are still moving, which is great, but to be in the hustle and just focus, dialed in, it says a lot about your character, your personality overall.
No, I mean, you nailed it. Like, you're talking about hustle, man. And real estate, I get so many people. They're like, "Oh my gosh, real estate, I want to get into it." And it's a very cool business. It looks really nice on the outside, right? But let's be honest, man. Like, I'm in there grinding. A lot of other agents, they're grinding. And in order for you to be successful, like where I'm at right now, man, like it took a lot of hard work. Day in, day out, like I'm in there, I'm making calls. You don't see that on the back end. You're getting rejected every other day on the phones. People are telling you to F off, But that's one thing about me, man. Like, you asked me, like, who are you? And I'm a hustler, like, and I got that from like my dad, my dad.
It's in your DNA already.
It's in my DNA. It's like literally pulsing through my veins right now. But one thing, it's funny, man, a little story, but growing up, I remember I would go to like Topanga Mall with my pops, and we'd go down to Sears, the aisle, and he's like, "Oh, we need to go look for some pliers, or we're looking for something specific in the area." And I'm like, "Dad, why don't you just ask the guy who works here to go, like, to point you out where it's at?" And I don't know if it's a pride thing or not, but he was always like, "No, I'll do it myself.
I can figure it out on my own.
I'll figure it out on my own."
Yeah.
So that's one thing I feel that I have in me, is like I'm very self-sufficient and very independent, and like, I incorporate that in my business and everyday business. Like, I just like to figure shit out on my own, and like, I think in this business, like, it's really important to, really be self-sufficient and make it happen on your own.
So what would you say got you into the business? What were you doing prior getting in? I always find this fascinating because everyone has such a different story, right? Some of them have like family members that were real estate agents. Some were just done with their 9-to-5 job,
Yeah.
Whatever it is, right? What was that trigger for you? What were you doing before getting into the business, into real estate? And then what made you be like, what was your aha moment? Be like, all right, screw this, man. This is what I'm going to do.
Man, well, it's funny. Before real estate, I was a dental assistant.
Dental assistant, okay.
I was a dental assistant.
Right.
I was literally living and breathing in people's mouths with the suction.
I love it.
Like, I was literally there with the Profi cups, and I was really good at what I did, And then I got into dental sales afterwards. I worked for Smile Direct Club. Shout out, paid advertisement. But I was working for them for about 3 years after that. I was an onboard trainer, and then I got into the management world,
Okay.
corporate world, and I kind of got sick and tired of that, like just being kind of stuck in there. And believe it or not, what got me into real estate, man, was a lot of my clients in Small Direct Club were real estate agents.
Oh, I see. Okay. And then, so what was that? What did you see that was appealing to you?
Dude, I mean, their lifestyle.
Lifestyle. Okay.
Like they would come in and they're just completely happy. Some, really busy, but the freedom that I saw within them like really like sparked my attention. I'm like, what do you do? I'm a real estate agent. And then this one lady in particular, she's like, you need to get your license. You need to get out of here. And she literally like grabbed my phone and she's like, this is how you do it. This is what you need to do. Go on this website, do this, do that. And surely enough, man, like months after that, I quit my job. I went to Sync Brokerage. I met Andres, and I was like, "Hey, man, can I work for you while I'm getting my license?" And he was like, "Nah." And I was like, "Okay."
I don't want to throw him under the bus, but I did kind of hear some of the story, but I'm gonna let you tell it. Let's hear it. So yeah.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So basically, they were like, "Yeah, no, they just kind of looked at me like, who's this scrub? Who's this guy?" And then, basically, they had that grand opening. I went in there. I met Andres. And I was like, listen, man, like, I'm getting my license. I'm gonna be pretty big, man. You should definitely give me a shot. And long story short, man, I had an appointment with him, and the rest is history.
That's amazing. Yeah. I mean, look, we always hear, the appealing side of the business, right? How the freedom that it comes, the liberty. You work on your own time, even though sometimes working on your own time means working 24 hours a day,
Right.
rather than a nine to five. But it's definitely not easy. Right. I mean, even when the business was cracking 2-3 years ago, when rates were at the lowest they've ever been, you still had to work. Even though deals kind of would fall into your lap, there was still a lot more competition. Right. So it's definitely not easy. Tell us a little bit. Share. You shared the positive. You getting into the business. Share with us one story or one situation where it was like you're like, screw this, man. I'm done. I don't want to be here anymore. Like what? Because I'm sure you go through those, as we all do. We go through those moments often.
Mm-hmm.
So share us a moment that you were kind of like, "This, I'm done. This is not for me."
With real estate.
Yeah, with real estate.
Um,
You're like, just today, or you want the one from yesterday?
like, dang, let me pull out my phone, man. There's so many. No, I mean, this industry has been really cool. Like, I don't really like to badmouth it. I think it all comes down to mindset,
Yeah.
and how much you're willing to take. And I think the most, story, I can't really think of one. I think the most challenging thing is dealing with different personalities and trying to cope with them and trying to mesh with them,
Okay.
But as far as negatives, things like that, I don't really. Well, you know what? I am going to tell you actually a funny story. You brought it up. It's actually a really great story. When I first started in the industry, man, making money. The checks, they weren't coming in every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's
scary. It's scary if you're not used to that.
Dude, it scared the shit out of me. And then my first check, man, it was basically, I sold a home in Burbank. That was my first sale. I sold it for like $865. It was a HUD-owned property. There was like literally hundreds of people applying, sending offers for this home, and I submitted one. It was below asking, and basically it trickled down from God probably gave me this offer, and they accepted my offer.
That's epic.
But what I'm trying to say is, I got paid, and I thought I was rich. I'm like, cool, I spent money, right?
First big check happens to all of us.
Yeah, man. And then after 2 weeks, I started seeing like my bank account getting lower and lower, and I didn't have any business coming in. So I did what a lot of agents do, I got to pay my bills, so I got a job at Whole Foods.
So you went back to the 9 to 5. Was that like part-time, full-time?
It was part-time.
Part-time, okay.
Yeah, we got a job at Whole Foods at Malibu, and
at least you picked up a dope location, Malibu,
Oh yeah, man, it was cool. Some cool babes there too, man. It was great. It was great. But yeah, so that's really challenging, man. I think the aspect of not getting a residual income in, that was definitely one of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've all been there. For anyone that has their own business, being in real estate or mortgage, you're self-employed, right? So if you don't go out and work, you're not gonna get paid. So I think it applies for anyone else. It's different when you're coming from a regular job. I have a lot of people from, being a lender, salary employees, people that are self-employed.
For sure.
It's a different thing when you know. I've always compared it's the same. It's almost the same thing because if you don't work, if you don't show up, you're not going to get paid. The only difference is when you're self-employed, it takes a little bit of time for that machine to start cranking and then feeding the checks, right?
Right.
Whereas if you start a job, you start right off the bat and then you start making money right away. But there's that sweet spot for anyone thinking, like when someone asks me, hey, I want to get into the business. If you have kids or you have big responsibilities, it is very risky for you to drop everything, especially if you don't have a book of business, you know, but a lot of people have done it. You know, that also pushes you to actually not take it half-ass and dive in full in, and you have no plan B, right? You have no plan B. So
I also just to point out, I give people who have realtors who have children, like I give you guys major props because I know that this industry is very hard, and the fact that you have children and you have to support them. Like this industry, like I said, you're not making a check every 2 weeks, you know. So props to you parents who are realtors because I know that's not it's very difficult.
yeah, it's hard to manage. Not that it's hard, you just have to prioritize your time, right? Like if you have, you know, 24 hours during the day, like for me, same thing. Like how do you spend time with your kid? How do you go to the gym? How do you have, you know, time for your personal stuff, and then on top of that, still to work. So it's just time management, right? Like unfortunately, and I've had this problem with a lot of my friends, and you know, shout out to all my boys out there that complain about this, but it is true. Hey, we're gonna hang out. Let's go have a drink. Hey, let's meet up. It's not the same anymore. I just can't do it, you know, because if I have 2-3 hours free during the 24-hour period, it's tough because I have to make a decision. Do I go out to a bar? Do I go, you know, hang out with my kid? Do I take her out to the park? It just depends on what you want to do, your priorities, right? So that's kind of what it falls down to. And there's seasons. There's moments where, you know, where you've planted, and you've been grinding for a while now. Sometimes it's good to kind of take a step back and enjoy as you reap the benefits, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
But at the beginning, you know, when I got into the game, I mean, I didn't take any vacation for like 2-3 years. I was working from at the office, check in at 8 and then check out at 8 o'clock. So it's 12-hour shifts.
Yeah.
But I was up 5 in the morning studying mortgage guidelines, underwriting guidelines. So it was a full process for me to get me there. So I mean, it's tough, but it's just priorities, right? For you,
yeah,
you're a single guy, LA. What better place to do what you do?
Oh yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So it's a different category. But I mean, you're in the right place, brother. You're grinding and everything.
Yeah.
So you just gotta stay the course. So on that topic, so what besides the real estate part, what do you do? Like, how do you maintain that mentality? Because I love how you responded. That it's not so much negative. It's just taking it how it is. Because you've only been in the game for 2 years. Not just play. It's something that happens. But yeah, overall, what keeps you sane? What keeps your mind cool?
Dude, I mean, working out.
Working out, okay.
Working out, working out and working, man. You know, staying busy, like moving.
Yeah.
Moving, it keeps me sane. When I'm not moving, I'm not doing anything, like I start to trip out. Like I just feel like I am not doing something right. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but whenever I'm not working, I'm not doing something, I'm not busy, my mind kind of wanders off.
Yeah.
You know? But I definitely would have to say that working out is a big contributor to staying mentally fit and sane. And yeah, you know.
Yeah, working out. I mean, it always helps. I always encourage anyone, no matter what you do. It's especially if you do long hours sitting down, being active and mobile is so important. One of the things that I've seen you do, you know, often is you like to be out. You know, door knocking, whatever it is that you conduct your business.
Right.
Which helps you for sure to stay active, but we can have those long days where we're sitting for, you know, 8-9 hours. You're probably just pushing paperwork, looking at comps, whatever it is you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, it's good to keep your body active. For me, I mean, working out has been something that just allows me to perform just at a higher level. You know,
100%.
I feel just more energized if I have long days where I haven't ate. My body's already used to fasting. So as you incorporate more things, you know, I definitely think it helps.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, do you practice any type of like spirituality, like mental kind of meditation, anything like that?
I wouldn't say I do, but I do pray. I do pray here and there. I'm not gonna say I go to church every Sunday, but like I said, like I feel like my church is staying active, like going to the gym. You know, I wake up and I have to usually read a book. You know, I have a book that I'm reading. It's called You Don't Listen. And
Okay.
it's kind of working on like the active listening part of understanding individuals and just, you know, zoning in and being in the moment. But yeah, that's pretty much my spirituality thing right there.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're gonna talk off camera. I'm gonna get them into meditation. Everyone I talk to, I'm always trying to push them onto meditation. It's so good, especially for your mindset of when you're just pushing. It kind of grounds you. It allows you to do more, but just more focused and with more purpose, which is really good. I'm telling you because that's how it kind of was brought up to me.
We should meditate right now.
What's that?
We should meditate right now.
Oh, yeah, we should do like a random 10-minute session. Yeah, transcendental meditation TM. It's really really good.
That's cool.
So if you were to, let's say someone came up to you and said, hey, I want to get into the business, real estate, whatever, as a coach, because I've seen some younger kind of guys come up to you and talk to you because of your success you've had, such, getting into the game so early. What would you say is something you would recommend yourself? Let's say you saw yourself 10 years, you're 19, you're 29. Let's say you were able to talk to your 19-year-old self or someone coming in their, 18, 19 years old. What advice would you give them for someone wanting to come into the game? Because I'm sure a lot of our audience members, I always get people saying, hey, I want to get into the business. What do you recommend? How should I start? What advice would you give someone in that situation or yourself at 19 years old?
It's a really good question.
What would you have done different compared to what you've done now, if anything at all?
Honestly, I wouldn't do anything different. I feel like everything led up to this moment. All my jobs that I had, all the skills that I acquired through those jobs, right? Being a dental assistant, being in Smile Direct Club, being a trainer, being a manager, working at TJ Maxx, which was my first job, being in retail. And I was the guy, man, who never, I still, I'm still pretty shy. I consider myself like an introvert, but I've learned to be an extrovert,
Okay.
like I'm like a omnivert is what I like to call it. Like deep down, I'm an introvert, but I know that I have to be an extrovert to be successful in this industry, man. Like you have to go out there, you have to talk to people, you have to spark random conversations with individuals, and I forgot where I was going with this, but yes, that's where I was going. But I wouldn't change anything. The jobs that I've had led me up to being who I am and being successful. Like they gave me the skills, to communicate,
Okay.
to interact with people, and I wouldn't really change anything. Like I said, timing is very important, and I think the timing that I have has been on point.
Got it. So what advice would you give someone? Let's say you have a young guy coming out of college. You're like, hey, I want to get into the business. What advice would you give him?
I would tell him to definitely get in the business. Get in the business, but get a solid mentor. Work with
I
mentorship.
agree. You cannot be more on point on that. Yeah.
Yeah, like work under somebody who's been doing this for years, someone who fits your style and your vibe, and someone who's gonna really motivate you and push you to be that. I would say look at a mentor, look at someone like I look at you, man, and I see you're successful. And when I first met you, man,
Brother.
I was like, man, like I want to be that guy, right? So I hang out with you.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. Yeah, it means a lot, especially coming from you. Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, it's we all have the people that we look up to in some way or form.
Yeah.
In our immediate sphere, and then you have bigger players and then celebrities. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate the nice words, man.
100%, man. Yeah, he's a cool guy. He's all right. Yeah, but I think you definitely want to hang out with people who are like-minded. I think
Yeah.
that's very, very important. And sometimes it could get lonely in this business from what I've seen in my 2 years,
Yeah.
which feel like 20 years. But it's all good. Not to be a sad boy or anything, but
No, I mean, that's how it is. It's a competitive business.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, any other lender or any other real estate agent, at the end of the day, we're all competition in some way or form. But the way I've always seen it, there's just so much business out there
yeah.
that I just don't see it as competition. Everyone has their own style, their own game, and the scarcity mentality of someone where, you're going to encounter haters, people that don't, they talk shit or
So many.
whatever it was, that's
Oh, yeah.
part of the business. I don't consider myself like that, to be honest. I'm more of a happy player in the game. Just like for me to be in the business is like, like obviously I don't think you grow up saying like I want to be a real estate agent. Well, sometimes my kid is funny because she's like, I'm a real estate agent. She does role play with me, my daughter. Hello, Rebecca.
That's awesome.
You know, because she sees what I do, right? She loves going to open houses and all that stuff. But in general, when you're coming into the business, I don't think it's like a career path that we're here in school often, you know. So, but you see the lifestyle that it has, and it does open up a lot of curiosity, right? But at the same time, it is a very vicious business. You know, competition is fierce, and yeah, man, if you don't know how to play the game and you don't know how to hustle, this business will devour you, like, and it doesn't care. It has no preference of age. I've seen people start at 70 years old. If you're older, you know, in the higher age range, and you think that you're too old to get into the business, trust me. I know kids that are in their 20s and they can barely make it. They don't have the hustle, they don't have the drive, and you have someone that, you know, is retired. They tried, it's not for them, and they're barely getting into real estate at their, you know, older age, and they're killing it. So it's just that's the beautiful thing about what we do. There's really no age for this. You can start late, you can start early. Obviously, you know, it's just depending on your work ethic, you know. But yeah.
I mean, you're talking about competition, man, and like that's another. I love real estate. I love the competition. You know, like growing up, I was heavy into sports. I was very athletic. I still am athletic. I play baseball on Sundays in a Sunday league. You know, and we go out there, we duke it out. You know, but I think that's why you know, that athleticism helps me out in my career because I love the competition. Like anything that I do, man, like I just want to be the best at. You know, and I'm sure you feel that you can kind of vibe with that, right? And then another thing you talked about was style. You know, you were talking about style, and in this game, you know, everyone has their own type of style, and I think that's really, really important to really vibe with those people that, you know, will be yourself. You know, I feel like your vibe will attract your tribe.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree. 1000%. Yeah. Yeah. And it takes time. You know, it takes, I mean, some people take longer than others, but you got to find like you said, you got to find your tribe, people that you enjoy seeing every day, talking to every day. So, but you know, that takes some practice as you kind of experience. You know, a lot of people hop from one business to another, different companies, and then eventually you'll find your ideal team. But yeah, man, it's amazing. I always love seeing, you know, young kids. Well, you're not a kid anymore, definitely a grown man, but on the younger side, and it's just good to see, you know, that you're out there hustling, and man, I can only imagine how far you're gonna get. So I'm excited to see where this is gonna go, brother. Again, I want to thank you for your time.
Yeah.
How do you want to close this out?
I mean, hey, man, you know, this goes out to just, you know, if I can sell real estate, man, I think anybody can sell real estate. You know, I don't have a college degree. I was never really good at school. You know, I'm not that preppy real estate agent. You know, I'm very unique in my own way. You know, I'm sure you follow me on Instagram and you see, like, you know, I love dope music. I love hip hop and techno and all this, you know, but I am myself. And if you're yourself, man, you can definitely go far in this place. But you just have to believe in yourself. So that's another thing. Believe in yourself. Be motivated. Stay hungry. Don't be complacent. And you can definitely go far in this industry. And another thing too, man. Put in the work, man.
Yeah.
Like,
1000%.
put in the work. Like, I hear agents, they're like, oh, I don't have business. Like, I've been there too. Well, but put in the work, man. You know? Like, if you don't see any business flowing your way, do something about it. Go knock on someone's door. Pick up that damn phone. This listing, believe it or not, I got it off of a cold call.
You got this listing off a cold call?
Yeah.
Nice.
I know we're gonna exit this, but
that's all good. No,
yeah.
That's good. I mean, that's what it's about, right? Now, like, again, that was a cool thing that, you know, we're talking about a location, and then you're like, actually, I just got this new listing. It's dope. It's right off. The location is prime. We're literally right off of Sunset Strip here in Hollywood. So yeah, I mean, again, that just shows the power of work, you know, work ethic. So yeah, there you guys, man. You guys have it right out of the mouth of Mike Racinos. Again, he's a killer. He's going to be a superstar in the game. So I just really appreciate your time, brother. Been wanting to do this for a minute, just to chat with you, chop it up. So again, guys,
this was a good time.
Stay tuned for the next episode. And that is a wrap. It is Friday. We're going to go make some prospecting calls.
See you guys.